now says that the hijab is mandatory for women in public. The Supreme Court had earlier delivered a split verdict on a batch of pleas challenging the Karnataka High Court's judgment upholding the ban on students wearing hijab in Karnataka's educational institutions, while Justice Hemant Gupta ruled in favor of dismissing the appeals against the High Court verdict. Justice Sudhanshu Dhulia held that wearing hijab is a matter of choice. For more, let's listen in.
Today, there is a judgment pronounced by the Honorable Supreme Court. It is a split verdict, and one Honorable Judge has allowed the appeals, and another Honorable Judge dismissed the appeals. Two opinions are there. So, under these circumstances, there is no clear-cut decisions in respect of the issue of the hijab case is concerned. So, then it has to be referred to according to my opinion, it has to be referred to the constitutional bench, and the constitutional bench has to take the note of every subject and give the correct judgment in respect of the hijab. If it is not taken by the constitutional bench, the confusion will go on. Confusion will continue regarding the hijab issue is concerned. So, there must be a clarity on judgment. For that purpose, it should be referred to the constitutional bench. That is only the way.
यह छात्रों का शिक्षण के बारे में वो लोग को चिंता नहीं है। कांग्रेस को एक ही चिंता इस देश में पावर लेना, पावर के लिए कुछ भी होने दे। देश में व्यक्ति को वैयक्तिक रूप से वो लोग को चिंता कभी नहीं किया। स्वतंत्र कब से आया? स्वतंत्र लेने के लिए इस देश को स्प्लिट किया था। इसके बाद में भी हर निर्णय देश सोचकर कभी नहीं लिया है, इलेक्शन देखकर ही लिया है। वह इलेक्शन के लिए एक कम्युनिटी का मत के लिए वह लोग सब बात करता है। मैं इस कांग्रेस को कुछ एडवाइस करने के लिए इच्छा नहीं करता है, मगर कांग्रेस का बात सुनकर उसका जीवन को कौन कौन खराब कर रहा है उसको मैं एडवाइस करने को इच्छा करता है। वह कांग्रेस का बात मत सुनो, पीएफआई का बात मत सुनो, एसएफआई का बात मत सुनो। आपका जीवन 99.9% छात्रों ने क्या निर्णय लेकर हमारा शाला और कॉलेज को आ रहा है, ऐसा ही आप भी आ जाओ, शिक्षण पूरा करो, आपका पैर के ऊपर आप खड़ा रहो।
And so the Supreme Court delivers a split verdict in the hijab row. Joining me now is Samiksha. Samiksha, it's over to you to take us through what all is happening in that regard.
Well, absolutely, Rukma. The order has now been, the matter has now been referred to the larger bench. Harsha, they're reporting live from the national capital. Going across to Harsha now. Harsha, if you could talk to us about the reactions coming in, especially from the petitioners who represented the petitioners in this top court today. What did the lawyers have to say, especially in this regard? Take us through those reactions.
Clearly, Samiksha, we had word with several lawyers from the side of Muslim petitioners as well, the council like Anas Tanveer and like Aftab Ali. They clearly stated that there was split a decision between Hemant Gupta and Sudhanshu Dhulia. But the main thrust of what Sudhanshu Dhulia stated was that whether wearing hijab is a Muslim's is a right or is a choice of female woman or not. Nothing less, nothing more. It's clearly their choice whether they want to wear it or not. They don't want to wear it. But main point is that education of a girl is suffering a lot. There are many girls who are dropping from the school in a country like India, where there are several places, small villages, where a girl child could not get an education there. Are we doing any justice by banning the hijab? And that is the topic. That was the issue with Sudhanshu Dhulia stated, and he said that in his decision girls' education was the utmost priority, and his decision has involved involved around the education of a girl child. And if we talk about Hemant Gupta, Justice Hemant Gupta, he had framed 11 questions which also stated about Article 25 and Article 19 about the mutual exclusive thing about the freedom of expression and right of choice of a religion. But we are also getting several reactions from Congress, from BJP, from Samajwadi Party. Leaders like Shafiqur Rahman, leaders like S.T. Hassan from Samajwadi Party are clearly stating that in future, whatever the verdict will be, but it has to be seen that the wearing of hijab by Muslim women is a right of Muslim women, and it comes under the religious practice. It comes under the following of Islam. So these are the things which have been seen today from the Apex Court, from the Supreme Court, right now from where I am reporting.
Yes, a very controversial remark that's been made by Shafiqur Rahman of the Samajwadi Party as well, saying that hijab is mandatory for women in public places. Let's listen into that soundbite once again.
भाई देखिए, ये ईमानदारी से एक मजहबी मामला है, इस्लाम का मामला है। इस्लाम के अंदर मतलब ये कि जवान बेटियां और जो हैं वो हैं औरतों के लिए हिजाब का हुक्म दिया गया है कि वो बापर्दा रहें और बेपर्दा होकर बाज़ारों में गलियों में न घूमें। इससे चूँकि हालात बिगड़ते हैं, आवारगी बढ़ती है इससे। और आज अगर इसमें कोई पाबंदी लगाई जाती है कि हिजाब की ज़रूरत नहीं है, वो ये कहते हैं, तो इससे समाज को भी न सिर्फ इस्लाम को बल्कि समाज को नुकसान होगा।
सासा जी, ये मामला सुप्रीम कोर्ट पहुंच गया है, क्या मानते हैं आप कि इस मामले को लेकर?
तो हमें उम्मीद है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट इसमें सही फैसला करेगा।
हरियाणा के मंत्री अनिल विज का बयान दे रहे हैं कि जिन लोगों का मन मचलता था वे हिजाब का विरोध करते हैं। ऐसे बयान को किस तरह से देखते हैं?
ये तो बयान जो गलत बयान है कोई भी दे तो उसमें ये ठीक नहीं है।
यानी हरियाणा के मंत्री के बयान को आप गलत मानते हैं?
नहीं, जो हरियाणा वो कोई मंत्री हो या संतरी हो, कोई भी हो, छोटा हो बड़ा हो, अगर वो कोई किसी मज़हब के ख़िलाफ़, सच्चाई के ख़िलाफ़ कोई बयान देता है तो उसको कोई मजबूरी नहीं है कि उसको कबूल किया जाए।
And Aneri also joining us live. Aneri, it's a split verdict by the Supreme Court. What it essentially means is that the Karnataka High Court order that was passed shall continue. If you could put this into context for us again and explain to us what the Karnataka High Court had said in its order earlier.
Well, that's right, Samiksha. The split judgment from the Supreme Court coming in from the very big judgment where we have been seeing how since last 10 months we have been seeing how there was a battle which was going on over the ban on hijab, and also a few days back we also had seen how there was a marathon hearing which was taking place in the Supreme Court in regard with the hijab ban. But now the judgment which has come in is a split judgment, and when we happened to speak to the Karnataka Education Minister, he also clearly stated that the interim order of the Karnataka High Court will continue, and also the ban on hijab.
Yes, Aneri, just hold your thoughts for a moment. I'm just going to come back to you. Yes, we have Advita Kala, also activist, joining us. Ma'am, if I can get your quick reaction. It's a split verdict, but a lot of controversial comments also there being made. SP MP there saying that hijab is mandatory for women in public places. Your reaction?
First of all, I don't know why Muslim men are feeling the need to speak up upon an issue that directly impacts women, and deciding what is essential, what is not. On your channel, when I was on the debate with Rana Ayyub the other day, all the panelists, some of whom were Islamic scholars as well as women activists, including one lady who was herself wearing a hijab, and they all said that it's not an essential practice. So I really want to know that who is giving the message that this is an essential practice. Politicians, male politicians, Muslim male politicians, they are deciding what is an essential practice in Islam and what isn't. I think this is the kind of mindset that makes general society very wary of these kind of situations.
Well, absolutely, ma'am, and these are the remarks that are being made by several Muslim bodies. If we talk about the AIM PLB as well as the IMAM, who are saying that hijab is an essential part of Islam.
It's not. I find it incredible that we're at a phase right now where young girls, women, schoolgirls are getting killed in Iran because they're refusing to wear the hijab. That is the reality. And are you trying to tell me that they don't know their faith? They don't know their rights? Muslim women don't know what is essential and what is not? So I think this is hugely problematic. And I wish that the Supreme Court judgment had been a little more decisive, because what's going to happen now is that we're going to go to a larger bench and this will continue onwards for a long time. And most importantly, when it is not considered an essential practice, why are these young girls who are protesting for the right to wear hijab in India, while young girls are dying because they don't want to wear the hijab? One has to ask, who is telling them that it's essential?
All right, ma'am, point taken. Thank you for speaking to us. So activist Adwaita Kala also giving her insights on the split verdict that has come out by the Supreme Court. On that note, let's listen to some reactions coming in from the Muslim bodies on the split verdict that has been released.
Many of them stand on the stage, remove their hijab, cut their hair to protest. I would have thought that such a modernizing movement should begin from amongst the Muslim community also. Why is it that the schoolgirls in Karnataka who did not wear hijab before this issue was flared up and made a public cause, and by the PFI sympathy, are now insisting to wear it? Why to travel back into the history? Barring this, I am surprised at the anger against it in the Muslim community. They went to the Karnataka High Court. When you submit to the jurisdiction of a court and are defeated, then there should be enough grace to accept the verdict. They challenged the judgment, they challenged the hijab ban on the ground that it is an essential practice in Islam. Since they raised it as a main question, the Karnataka High Court answered it. Now arguing that this question was unnecessary shows a shift in their stand. I think that so long as the bigger bench does not decide it, there should be no agitation, no protest, but there should be silent following of the judgment of the Karnataka High Court, which continues to hold good.
And joining us now is activist Zeenat Shaukat Ali on the phone line. Ma'am, when we talk about the split verdict, there are so many reactions that are coming in. One of them is that, well, it's now become a question of whether wearing a hijab is actually an essential Islamic practice. And there are many clerics who have come in to say that it is. Well, whilst earlier the view that we were given was entirely different. Your thoughts on this?
You see, the whole thing is that I think there has been a great degree of caution that is being exercised. And I think both the judges, have given different perspectives. One has raised the Article 15 of the Constitution and Article 19 and 25 of the Constitution, and the other judge has supported the Karnataka High Court judgment. Now, what we have to do is we have to wait for this judgment to come. In the interim period, the Karnataka High Court judgment prevails, as we had been told. And we should now, honor that, and we have to follow that course. Now, how this, both the decision has been made when both petitioners of both sides have been heard. As far as my own reading is concerned, this is, I don't think this is an essential part of Islam, because if you look at the rest of the Muslim world, we are not the only clergy and we are not the only ulama. We have ulama all over the world. The ulama in Saudi Arabia has said that, it is voluntary that you put on the hijab, whether you put it on or not. If it was an essential part of Islam, they would not say that. They have said, yes, decency and modesty, which the Quran emphasizes, and I completely agree with that. So decency and modesty are the norms and not this particular kind of, whatever you define. the second part of it is that Imam Tahtawi, the rector of the Al-Azhar University, the greatest voice in the Sunni world, most respected voice, has said the same thing. That there is no compelling people to wear. So if it is an essential part of religion, then that argument flows. And not only that, but except for 3 countries of the world which have made it mandatory, like Iran, like Afghanistan, and like Arcade. You see that there is a turmoil in Iran regarding the issue, and as there is in Afghanistan. The rest of the countries have all made it optional, and that it is a matter of your choice. So if it was an essential part of Islam, would that have happened? Now that is something that we need to question, that whether we are the only guardians of the religion, and there are the other people, all the ulama and the learned all around the world who have come to these conclusions have also discussed this matter, debated this matter, and have therefore come to this kind of an understanding. We have to weigh and consider. So what I say now is, in short, is that we have to await the Honorable Court, the Supreme Court, and what it has to say regarding this matter. And it has to, I'm sure that the court is going to take an overall perspective of what is going to happen. There's only one thing that I'm afraid of, and I'd like to express myself on this issue, is that there should be no politics involved in this. There should be no election issues involved in this. This is a woman's issue, and let us not place a gun on the woman's shoulder and shoot. That is my request.
Right.
Hello.
Right. Well, many thanks, Dr. Zeenat, for joining us there and for sharing your thoughts with us. And joining us now is Senior Advocate Subhash Jha. And Mr. Jha, when we talk about the split verdict by the Supreme Court, well, there are many reactions coming in. Even as it is widely accepted that the hijab face-off is not yet at an end, the Karnataka High Court order stays. But there's also a fresh row in the matter about how certain sections are saying, an SP MP, for instance, is saying that, hijab is mandatory for women, especially in public places. Your reactions?
Certainly not. Perhaps he is not aware of what the law of the land is. Not for the first time the issue of hijab had fallen for consideration before a constitutional court. I may tell you that way back in 2002, Bombay High Court had an occasion to decide the issue of hijab. And then Justice R.M. Lodha, who eventually became the Chief Justice of India, was the senior judge heading the bench. So a division bench along with Justice D.B. Bhosle, who became the Chief Justice of Allahabad High Court subsequently. Now, these 2 judges have made an in-depth study of a survey of the views of different scholars from different countries, and eventually concluded in a 2002 reported judgment that it is not an essential part of Islamic practice. So therefore, once the issue was set at rest, then in 2016, incidentally, Muslim man in Air Force, he was an airman, and he says that growing beard is my fundamental right, is an integral part of Islamic practice. Now that matter also went to the Supreme Court, and there 3 judges bench, and incidentally, now in a few days from now, Justice Y.B. Chandrachud would be the Chief Justice of India, the 50th Chief Justice. He delivered the judgment. Incidentally, and what he says interestingly, and that's a judgment rendered by 3-judge bench. And what does he say in a nutshell is that there is no necessity to maintain.
But I also have with me my colleague Samiksha, and she has for us breaking news coming in right now. Samiksha, it's over to you.
Well, absolutely, Rukma. So what we are given to understand right now is that the ED has filed a prosecution complaint against Rana Ayyub. So that's trouble there mounting for Rana Ayyub, as the Enforcement Directorate has filed a prosecution complaint under the PMLA Act. What we are given to understand is that this ED, the Enforcement Directorate, had initiated money laundering investigation on the basis of an FIR that was registered on 7th of September 2021 by the Indrapuram police station. We'll go across to Shravan as well for more details on that, but that's a big breaking update coming in right now. Trouble there mounting for Rana Ayyub as the Directorate of Enforcement has filed a prosecution complaint against Rana Ayyub. What we're given to understand is that the ED had initiated a money laundering investigation in this matter. Basis an FIR that was registered on 7th of September 2021. That was the FIR that was registered in the Indrapuram police station, Ghaziabad, under various sections of the IPC IT Amendment Act 2008 and Black Money Act against Rana Ayyub, alleging that she illegally acquired funds from general public in the name of charity by launching fundraiser campaigns on an online crowdfunding platform, Keto. It was also alleged that Rana Ayyub is a journalist by profession and received foreign contribution without registration under the FCRS. So those are the grave allegations that Rana Ayyub is facing at this point. We are given to understand is that in this prosecution complaint that has been filed against her. Well, our senior editor Shravan is joining us for more details. Shravan, give us more details on the prosecution complaint against Rana Ayyub. Well, we'll go across to Shravan again, but the grave allegations that Rana Ayyub is facing at this point are help in raising funds. These investigations are related to this fundraiser, the 3 fundraiser campaigns on Keto platform that was started in April 2020, in which the fundraiser campaign raised amount over 2 crore rupees that was raised pertaining to help in raising funds for slum dwellers and farmers, relief work for Assam, Bihar and Maharashtra, and those were some of the campaigns that were led by Rana Ayyub. These are 3 fundraiser campaigns on Keto platform. Shravan is back with us, breaking those details for us. Shravan, over to you. Give us more details.
Well, in fact, the latest details that we are picking up, Samiksha, in the charge sheet that has now been filed by the Enforcement Directorate, they made an allegation that Rana Ayyub illegally acquired funds, that too from the public, in the name of charity by launching fundraiser campaigns on an online crowdfunding platform which goes by the name of Keto. In fact, Rana Ayyub's statement has also been recorded by the Enforcement Directorate, and in which she was specifically asked this question whether at all she had taken any sort of approval from the Ministry of Home Affairs in terms of whether at all she had an FCRA registration. We're given to understand that she received foreign contribution, that too without any registration under the FCRA. Now, the details that have been put out as far as those 3 fundraiser campaigns on the Keto platform starting from April 2020, it is given to understand under three important aspects: help in raising funds for slum dwellers and farmers, relief work for Assam, Bihar and Maharashtra, and help Rana Ayyub and her team to help those impacted by COVID-19 in India. Now, these were the 3 campaigns that she had essentially started. An investigation by the Enforcement Directorate basically revealed the fund raised on the online platforms were received in the accounts of her father and sister, and subsequently it was transferred to her personal accounts. In fact, Rana Ayyub has been accused of utilizing these funds to create a fixed deposit of about 50 lakh rupees for herself and also transferred 50 lakh rupees in a new bank account. In fact, not only that, 29 lakh rupees was only used for the relief work. In order to claim more expenses towards relief work, fake bills were submitted by Rana Ayyub. That's the allegation that is being leveled. That fake bills were basically utilized. And the bank balances that have now been checked by the Enforcement Directorate in the accounts of Rana Ayyub, about 50 lakh rupees in FD were attached.